Hey guys, and welcome back to the Quick Slant on Green Bay Packer Nation and greenbaypackernation.com. Today, we're doing our Rants and Raves from the Packers versus Bucs. As always, we're going to start with the Raves because I love to be positive about our team when at all possible. Sometimes you got to be honest, but let's start with our Raves, and let's start with what I would consider the absolute most important rave of this game. And that is Dean Lowry picking a fumble out of the sky and having the presence of mind to run the ball back for a touchdown. If we don't get that touchdown, we don't win this game. It's just plain cut and dried. I see no way that we are able to pull out this win, and it's a critical win, if Dean Lowry does not make that touchdown. If the ball had dropped on the carpet and he had jumped on it there, the ball was at our 40-yard line. I just don't see our offense at that point in the game being able to march the ball down and get into scoring range. So that was not only exciting for Packer fans, not only exciting for Dean Lowry, who, let's be honest, it'll be the only time he probably ever gets to do that in his life, but it was just plain exciting for this game and a key moment. The second rave I have is Trevor Davis on kick returns. I love the way the guy looks on kick returns. He had some nice seams that we opened up for him, did some great blocking for him, and he's lightning quick, so it was just so fluid hitting those lanes, and he looked really good. He averaged 30.3 yards per return, and that puts us in great field position for an offense that struggles generating yardage to still get some points on the board. So that's a key factor in this game as well. Of course, you only want to see him run one kick back a game, because if he's running more than that, we know we're letting people score on us. Third, and this probably, I guess, would rank higher than my Trevor Davis rave, is Jamal Williams running the ball. At 113 yards this game, and it looks to me like he is seeing the field better, I think, but it looks to me like it's still just Jamal Williams knowing that he was the go-to guy, and then Aaron Jones looked so good and would have probably continued playing had he not been injured. I think in Williams' mind, he knows this is his chance, and he's going to fight for every yard he can get, which can be scary at times, because when running backs are fighting for that extra yardage, that's when a lot of times when they fumble the ball, because they're focusing on getting the yardage. But he's been really secure in that area. So knock on wood, he continues to run like that, and so he's definitely one of my raves for this game, especially that first rushing TD. Boy, that was almost all Jamal Williams. Aaron Jones, I have to throw him in here because the game winner. But not only the game winner, he made the most out of a bad situation. The Bucs actually had collapsed the line of scrimmage on that play, and he ran into a wall. If it hadn't been that he had the presence of mind to bounce it outside and back outside, we would have maybe struggled. We would have gotten a field goal out of it, most likely, because of our field position, but we really wanted to just end it there and not give Tampa Bay another shot at it. So that was definitely one of my raves, and of course it was just so much fun to watch him fly into the end zone. I also have to give this next rave is, it's not a knock it out of the park rave, but I have to give some love to our Packer offensive line. There were times when we struggled, but I think a lot of the running lanes that Jamal Williams had were created by our offensive line. A lot of that yardage that Williams generated was in the second and third level where he was finally getting touched. And that is so much different from the Jamal Williams running early in the season. He was running into some serious traffic early in the season, just didn't have those holes where he can get ahead of steam, and we gave him those holes this game, and that was, I thought, really important for our success and in taking home this win. However, I also think that they gave Brett Hundley plenty of time to operate. There were times when the pocket collapsed. Some of that was Brett holding the ball too long, I thought. But I think as a rule, they gave him all the time he needed to find somebody who was open. So that is going to take me over to the flip side to our rants. Okay, so we're going to start our rants with Brett Hundley. I don't want to rant on him too bad because I do still think he's a young quarterback that hasn't had a whole lot of reps. So I don't want to rant on him too hard because I don't think he's doing a good job, but I think he is trying his best to get this team to the point where we have a chance when Aaron Rodgers gets back on the field. And I think he knows that's his job. I think he came into this stretch maybe thinking this was his chance to show that he could be a starting quarterback in this league, maybe get himself a contract with someone and start with a team that needs a good starting quarterback. I think he now knows that he still has some growing to do, and so I think he's just doing the best he can to get us over the hump and back to the point where Aaron Rodgers can maybe come back and we can maybe continue this win streak, which everybody would admit is going to be much easier when and if we get Aaron Rodgers back. So I don't want to rant on him too hard. However, he missed some serious throws, starting with the out to Allison in the end zone. Allison was just so wide open. You really don't even have to be accurate to score a touchdown on that pass. I don't know what happened with Brett, whether he was just so jacked up because it's Lambeau Field and the season's kind of on the, not kind of on the line, it is on the line here. That may be, but he's got to get that under control. He's got to hit those throws. The other one that I thought was not nearly as egregious, but the toss deep to Jordy Nelson. Hundley has not been doing well on deep tosses this year. And this particular one to Jordy, if he had laid it a little farther out towards the hash, then the safety would not have even been able to make a play on it. It would have still had to have been a really good throw because Jordy was fairly well covered, but Jordy had a step on the receiver, or on the defender, and if Brett had put that ball a little farther out towards the hash, Jordy, even if he had to flip to his left to catch the ball, I think he would have gotten it, and we would have had a nice play on that. Unfortunately, turnovers can kill you, and they almost did. So that's my first rant of the game, or about this game. My second one kind of reflects back again to the Raves. I love Trevor Davis in kick returns, but Trevor Davis in punt returns, he's just not looking good. And it's not just that he's not returning well. Punt returns are, of course, far more difficult to manage than a kick return. Kick returns, you've got a head of steam. All you have to do is find the seam and run up the seam for the most part. With punt returns, of course, after catching the ball, your first responsibility is to make that first guy miss. After that, you kind of start relying on your blocking after that. However, his decision-making in not just this game, in many games, where it's a high school punt returner is taught when you're on the 10-yard line, let the ball go over your shoulder and just hope that it goes into the end zone because the stats say it's likely it's going into the end zone. And I don't know if he's just not feeling where he is in the field or if he's just trying to make a big play when he shouldn't be. However, I kind of lay this partly on the coaching staff too, because like I said, every high school punt returner is taught this, and it's pretty easy. You kind of know where the 10-yard line is, and if the ball is not, if you're going to catch the ball on the 10, you just step out of the way and let it go. So, for some reason, our coaching staff is either not communicating this to Trevor, or it's not getting through to him. But something's got to change, and it's got to change fast. Whether it's finally getting him to feel where he is on the field, or just completely replacing him, which would be unfortunate, I think, because he has that speed that you love to see. But you got to make good decisions too. So that's my next rant of the game. The final one I've got is. Well, no, I actually have penalties as well. I almost forgot about the penalties. And the penalties, looking back over the stats, I was kind of surprised that we didn't have as many penalties as Tampa Bay did. Because early on, oh my word, they were awful. And not just so many of them, but at crucial moments. That first drive that Tampa Bay had, I think our penalties probably did about as much for Tampa Bay in scoring that touchdown as Jameis Winston and a good scripted first drive did. So I was really disappointed in the penalties, but and like I say, I just wasn't really conscious of the fact that we cleaned it up that much in the second half. But if you look at the stats, we did clean it up in the second half. We had 7 penalties for 47 yards, and Tampa Bay actually had 8 penalties for 74 yards. So something turned around in the second half on that, and that's great. But if we had cleaned that up in the first half, we may not have been in a situation where we had to win in overtime. And lastly, our defensive tackling, especially early. Our defensive tackling was kind of bad all game long. And I don't really think these guys are that good a running team that they should have showed us up that much. Now, I will grant the defense that they had to have gotten tired as the game wore on. They ran, I think Tampa Bay ran 74 snaps on offense, and so our defense was on the field for 74 plays. That is a lot of being on the field, and you are going to get tired in that situation. And when you get tired, people start trucking you, and so I can't necessarily fault them for that in the second half, although we still expect that they're professionals and they should be conditioned enough to at least maintain a modicum of control in that department. But in the early on, there were some pretty poor tackles, complete whiffs on tackles, and just really it was not very pretty at all. I haven't really dug into it deeply, but I kind of had a thought that I wondered whether maybe it was related to like when Kenny left the game. I think Kenny and Mike Daniels really work well together, and it seems like when Kenny's not on the field, it's easier to double team Daniels, but when Clark's on the field and doing well, teams don't have the luxury of just double teaming Mike Daniels, and then the tandem works really well together. That's my suspicion, but I haven't looked to see how related this was to the snaps where either Daniels or Kenny Clark were not in the game. The other thought I had was at one point Ryan went out on the Ryan went out of the game for a while, and I don't know how long Jake was out, but I also kind of wondered, and again, I haven't dug into it, I kind of wondered if perhaps some of the tackling foibles were related to him not being in the game. Now, we still had our leading tackler in the game, so you would think that we still would have done fairly well, but Martinez can't do all of it. So that was my other rant of the game. So all in all, I guess I'll end with one overriding rave, is that we needed a win, and ugly or no, they found a way to get the W. That's all we needed, was just one more W, one more W, one more W. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love to have you subscribe and definitely hit that bell notification so you get notified when we post new videos. And stay tuned for Wednesday when we do our By the Numbers, and we're going to go over the numbers, the detailed statistics from the past game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to talk a little bit about some general stats for this season for the Packers, and then we're going to start looking forward to the game against the Browns and the stats that might play a role in a Packer win against the Browns.